So in last class, we have created two APIs, find employees API and create employee API. And we are able to insert the data in H2 database, right? So let me start the server. Server started successfully. So now let me go to the browser and then localhost h2-console. Let me log in admin. Connected. So whenever you restart the server, so there is no data because we are using in-memory database. Whenever you are restarting the server, so H2 in-memory database, whatever you have inserted the data will not be there. So you will lost all the data which you are inserted earlier. So again you have to insert it. So let me open Postman. So right now there is no data in H2 database. So in real time, in-memory database we are not going to use. This is only for testing your application whether you are able to insert the data or not. Okay. So now let me create the employee. Okay. Body. So let me create the employee one. So Ramesh. So I'm sending the request. So since it is a post request, I'm sending it. So send the request. So I got the response one. So that means data inserted successfully. Let me run the query. You can see null. Okay, why null values are there? So for testing purpose, I have not given properties properly as part of JSON, right? FIRST, first name, last name, mobile number, and email, email, email and age. So whenever if your properties are not matching with your model object, so always data is going to insert null values since all the columns are nullable, right? Yesterday we have created a nullable database table, right? So instead of that, what I will do, okay, okay, let it nullable. So let me insert one more time. Let me insert record to employee 2. So employee 2 is inserted. You can go and check employee database, run the query. You can see user number 2 is inserted successfully. Similarly, let me insert user number, employee number 3. Employee 3, let me give different names. So I send the request again. So you can see, let me create 4 records. So I'm sending request again. Now response came successfully. You can see. So now go to database and then execute the query. So total how many records we have? We have 4 records. So let me, so first records why it is inserting null. So when we are sending the data, the properties I have not implicitly, I have not intentionally, I have not send proper request JSON. So that's the reason null values are inserted initially. So now let me find the query. So from the browser, find all employees who are all inserted from the database. So how many employees are there? You can see here 1, so 2, 3, 4. So employee ID is coming null. Why employee ID is coming null? So now let's go and check now. So employee ID is not so in database employee ID is inserted, right? You can see employee ID is inserted 1, 2, 3, 4. But whenever you are fetching the data, so you are getting employee ID as a null. So what is the root cause? So let me go to repository where you have to debug repository layer. So repository layer, when this find all employees as being called, so properties are not mapped properly. So which property is not mapped properly? So employee ID is not mapped properly. So why? Let me check. So what is the column name in database? What is the column name in database? ID. ID. So column, what is the name of the column for employee ID? It is ID. So the property which I have written in model class, go and check the model class. So in employee class, model class, I have given it as a employee ID. So that is the reason, and employee ID is equal to ID. So what will happen when it is mapping uh, in the row bin this one in repository class there is a method class, right? Bean property row mapper. Whenever what this class will do, it will map all the columns with your model class object. So that time whenever it is mapping, that time the column is different in the database and the property in model class object is different. So that is the reason it is coming null. The value is not being set. So now how to resolve this? So we can resolve in two ways. So how we can resolve? So by renaming employee ID as ID. This is one solution. So there is another solution also. Without changing that, also we can fix the issue. How we can fix the issue? We can go and check. So employee repository class. So there is a query, right? So select star from employee. So what we can do? So now database column employee ID is not matching with your model object of employee ID property, right? So we can do another way. We can create a alias name. Select star from employee. This one we can call it as a alias name for employee table. So now what we can do? So now emp dot alias name emp dot what is the database column? ID. So ID, right? So emp dot ID as employee ID. So how you can use? So what will happen? So it will fetch the ID and it will map that ID to employee ID. So employee ID is available in our model class object. You can see employee ID. So it will match. So it will match when it is creating with as alias name. So emp dot id as employee ID. So in that case, so even if it is a database column not matched with your model object, then also you will get the data will map properly. So now, so you should not write only employee ID. So if you select emp id as employee ID, then you will always get employee ID, other values will come null. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to fetch other values also, comma emp dot. So what is the second column? Last name, right? Emp dot last name, last last name as last name. Let it be as it, last name. So this property should match with your model class object. Whatever alias name which you have given, ID column name as a employee ID and last name as a last name. So those should match with your model class object. Similarly, emp dot first name first first name as, sorry, this should be this should be first name as first name. Either you can write no problem. If you write here last name, if you write here second name, no problem. If you write here last name, if you write here first name, no problem. So to avoid confusion for you, so that I'm writing in same order. First name is equal first name as first name. Similarly, emp dot last name as last name in model class object. Next, what is the another property? Emp dot mobile number. Mobile number as mobile number NUMPR. Similarly, emp dot email as email. Similarly, emp dot what is another one? Age as age. That's it. So how you can format the code? Control Shift F. So now after that you can see. So let me explain you again. So what we are trying to do now? We are mapping database column names with your model object. So these are what are all the columns are available in that employee table. These are all the columns: ID, first name, last name, mobile number, email, age. So this one I am mapping with your database, your model class object. So model class properties. Okay. So now go to your model class object. So if you check in model class object, so what are the properties? Employee ID, first name, last name, mobile number, email, and age. So if you see here, so left hand side, whichever we have selected emp.id, these are all columns in the database. These are all columns in database. The right hand side that we are giving as a alias name, that is properties in model class object. So now, the moment I modified the code, our server is restarted. So whenever server restarts, so our H2 console, we have to log in it again, right? So now let me log in again. Admin connect and click on employee, then click select run button. There is no rows. So let me create one by one again. One shaker created. So let me create second record. So let me give name Rasul Sheikh Rasul and age will be something like 45. So let me insert second record as well. So response came successfully. Now let me insert another record, at least 3 records. Okay. Uh, Shankar. Yes. Okay. So mobile number, give any something. So any data you can add here. Any random data you can add. Okay. Age 47. So I'm inserting record number 3. So let me fetch all the records. If you see now, employee ID also coming. Earlier employee ID is coming as a null. Earlier employee ID is coming as a null value. So now what we have done, so the database column in H2 console, employee table, what is the employee ID column? That is only ID. So now ID is mapped with employee ID, which is available in your model object. ID column as employee ID. Similarly, rest other. So this is how you can map your database columns with your model class object in Spring JDBC. Okay. So now, so another way I told you, right? Another way also you can fix the issue. So what I will do, I will just comment it. I will just comment this, and then I will copy the query to make you understand. Two solutions are there, right? So I'm going to show you second solution. So now you can see here I have commented out. So select query. So now I am removing all alias names which I have given it here. So instead of that, what I will do, I will just select star from employee. What I will do, select star from employee. Select star from employee. I am saving the class. So I just saved the code. So let me go to database. Sorry. Let me go to database. Uh, Localhost h2 console. Then login in again. Admin connect. So now data is not there. So what I will do, randomly I will send the request. I will create one. Next two. So data I'm not giving, just I'm updating user IDs. Data you can give your unique data. Okay, 3, and I'm trying to create 4. Okay, I'm not changing first name and last name. Okay, so I'm just changing employee ID. You can see here. Go to your browser and then test it. So this is why open two times. So let me check in the browser, fetch all the employees. So you can see now employee ID is coming null. Why? So column in a database is different and your model object uh, employee ID is different. So in model object, what is the property? Employee ID. In database, what is the column? ID. So that's the reason null is coming. So how you can fix? So instead of employee ID, I can give directly ID. And then what I will do, I will remove setter and getter methods. I am going to generate source, generate setters and getter methods. That's it. By using, you just need to click on right click and then you can generate setters and getter methods. So now there is another error. What is that? In toString method. In toString method, also you have to change ID. So now that the columns in the database and the property, the columns in database and the properties in model class object all are same. Columns in database and properties of your model class object, so all are same. So in that case, you no need to write alias names. You no need to write the queries to map the data. So why here something exception is coming? So employee, I haven't saved. Full static string select star from employee. Okay, alias name also you no need to give. There is some error. Why? Yeah, you can see there is some error. Why? Because so I have modified the property in model class object, right? What is the property now? Get ID. That's it. So now let me go to browser and fetch all employees initially. So now server is restarted, right? Because I have modified the code. Server is restarted. Now again we have to log into H2 console. Log in to H2 database. Select the table. Click on run button. So now again we need to create the data. Okay, some dummy data randomly will create. Okay, one I will send. So you can modify the what is this internal error? Insert into employee. Insert into employee. Why? So let me check. Read the error. So whenever exception comes, you should feel very happy. So what is the syntactical error here? Insert into employee ID first name last name. Query exception. Null not allowed for column. Okay, null not allowed for column because id is a primary key, right? So primary key is a not null in database. So that's the reason it is null is not allowing. Now what is the question? Why null value is going? You can see why null value is going. What is the property now in model object? What is the employee ID? So what I am passing here, employee ID. That's the reason employee ID is going null. Employees ID going as a null. That's the reason it is not inserting in database since it is a primary key. So now what you have to give? You have to give as ID. Now let me send the request. You can see. So record is created. Let me create second record. So first name, last name and all I'm not changing. So you guys can change it. Okay. So now let me try third record and let me try fourth record. That's it. So let me go to browser and then invoke find employee. You can see ID1, ID2, ID3, and then ID4. Total 3 and 4. Total 4 records are inserted in database. You can check in database as well. You just need to execute the query. So the moment you select and run that query, you can see. So 4 records are inserted in database. So some people may have doubt. You may have ping me in WhatsApp. Okay, sir, it is inserted 4 times. Why it is inserted 4 times same records? So when I am sending the record, right, I have not modified the data. Okay, I haven't modified the data. I just modified the employee ID. Since it is a primary key, we cannot insert the same record twice. If you want, you can test again. Send request. See, you got the exception. Already 4. You can see already primary key 4. Fourth record already available in database. Now I am trying to insert again. I am trying to insert again. So what is the exception? Internal error, because it's duplicate values will not allow in database. Which duplicate? Primary key. Since id column is a primary key, I am trying to insert again id with 4 value. That's the reason it is not inserting. It is saying internal server exception. Primary key, you can see unique index or primary key violation. Unique index or primary key violation. What does it mean? So you cannot insert duplicate primary key in database, duplicate value in database, right? So now let me try inserting number 5. If you insert number 5, since number 5 is not available in database, so it will successfully it will insert. Yes, response came successfully 1. So now let me go and execute. So total how many records we have inserted? 5 records we have inserted. So now this is how we have to fetch the records and we have to insert the records by using Spring Boot JDBC. Okay, Spring Boot JDBC, JDBC template. So JDBC template, you can use traditional Spring application as well as Spring Boot application. So we have a JDBC template object. So you just need to auto wire in your repository layer, and then you can fetch the you can write the code to insert the data and to fetch the data. So now let me write another APIs. What is the another API? So let me go to the Notepad plus plus. Somewhere I have written, right. So we have created find all employees API and create employee API, but we haven't created find employee. So find employee in the sense you are going to search the employee. So I am going to write the API. So before writing the API, first I am going to write the repository layer. I'm going to write the business logic in database logic in repository layer. So how you can write? Just come down and then public public. So what it will return whenever find employee. I think I already written find employee. You can see here find employee is already written. You can see. So there is a method available already, find employee, and which is passing long ID and then returning JDBC template dot. If you want to fetch the specific employee, there is a method called set of methods available. You can see query for object. So number of query for objects are available. Based on our requirement, we can pass respective arguments. Respective arguments you need to pass to query for object method. So query for object method is used to fetch employee from database, and it will return employee object. So what is the query? So first argument will be find employee query. If you go and check, so select star from employee where id is equal question mark. So id in the sense, for example, if I'm sending id 1, then what will happen? Select star from employee where id is equal to 1. So first row will be returned to your REST client as a response. So what is the second argument? Same as is. So how we fetch the all the employees. Similarly, second property also you have to map your your database rows into your bean class object. So for that we need a new property row mapper, and then just you need to pass employee objects. So now another parameter, what we need another parameter, so we need to find the employee. So as part of this query we need to pass input, right? We need to give input to this query to fetch specific employee. So that question mark I am giving as that passing id, employee id I am passing from REST client. So find employee method needed long id. So in your interface also you have to add go to sorry, not here, your sorry, repository layer doesn't, I haven't created interface, right? So directly repository I have created. So you can write directly the JDBC template object dot query for object. So if you go to service IMPL, go to your interface, you can see find employee. I haven't passed. Okay, find employee. I haven't passed the value. So now what we can do? Let me create the API from controller to find specific employee. Public. So what it will return? Employee object. What is the API we are going to write? Find employee. Find employee. Specific employee. Right. So I am going to pass at the rate get mapping only. Why I'm going to use get mapping. So how I am going to send the employee ID to controller with the help of path variable. Find employee is my API, and then you have how we can pass path variable. I already in previous classes we have done 2 or 3 examples, right? So how we can pass path variable slash open bracket and open curly braces, open and close curly braces. Inside that you need to pass ID. That's it, employee ID. So now here what you can give employee ID also, not a problem. Any name you can give. Whatever name you have given inside, that you have to pass same as is to find employee method. So how we can receive path variable, how we can receive path variable to our find employee method at the rate path variable annotations. After that, what is that employee ID? Employee, since it is employee ID is a long, so you have to give as a long. So long data type. Just give ID. So what you have to give? This same. This should match with this one. Okay. So that's it. So now what we can do? What it will return? So return employee service object dot. So there is a method available, find employee. There is a method available, find employee. So earlier we haven't passed the argument as part of find employee. So now what we can do? We can pass the argument to find employee to send the data to your repository layer, right? This employee ID we have to send to repository layer. First we have to send to service layer, from service layer to repository layer. So now I haven't passed it. So what I will do, I will just pass long ID. You have to understand the code and you have to understand the business logic. Then only you have to write the code. Okay. So now long ID. So now you have passed the argument, right? Long ID. So this method we need to override in your implementation class, right? So this is the service class. Here also you have to pass long employee ID. That's it. So now from here you can invoke repository layer. How you can invoke repository layer? So employee JDBC repository, employee JDBC repository dot find employee. There are two methods are available. One is find employees, another one is find employee. Just call find employee and I am passing as argument employee ID. That's it. Now go to your business repository layer. So it will go to here. It will take ID and then this ID is going to pass it here. That's it. So now go to your controller. So here you need to pass employee ID as part of find employee. That's it. So now we can find specific employee from database. What is the API name? Get employee. What is the HTTP request? Get mapping. So you can do another way also. This is one way. So you can send a post model object also. How you can send model object? So let me write both the ways. So which one is the best approach? Best approach will be this one only. Why? Because how many inputs you need in our repository layer? If you want to find the employee, you can go to here. If you want to find the employee, you just need a one parameter to find the employee. So for that, you no need to pass entire objects. You just need to pass employee ID. Employee ID is enough. You no need to pass entire object. So another way also we can do how with the help of post mapping. I'm just showing you guys. So another so many ways are there. So I'm going to show you. So how you can send now here just to find employee. So here what you can pass model object at the rate sorry, request body, right? Request body. And what is our model object? Employee. So employee ID, and then so again find employee, you have to create another method. Find employee should have sorry, no need to create another method. Same method you can pass employee ID. This is employee object, right? Employee object, let me copy the employee object. Here what you need to pass only, here what you need to pass, control V dot get ID. That's it. This is another way. So here you need to send the employee ID as part of post request. In this case, you have to send employee ID as part of path variable. So two ways we can do. So which one is best? This one is the best approach. So both will work. Both will work. Same concept. Okay. So let me try one by one. So find employee, whether this one also will work. You can send employee ID as part of post request, and as if you want to use this one, so you have to send employee ID as part of path variable. Okay, so as of now I'm sending post request. Okay, let me go to the browser. Now again I need to log in. Sorry, shit, every time it is opening new window. So localhost h2 console, I am logging into h2 console. I have restarted the server, right? We have modified the code. Now we don't have any data in database. So let me send the request from postman. How we can send? You need to pass 1, 2, then 3. Observe guys, I'm not changing the entire data. I'm just changing testing purpose. I'm just changing employee ID. Okay, because employee ID is primary key in your database. So now go to browser and find employee. How many records are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 records are there. So now what we can insert now? So what we have to do, we need to find the employee. So if you want to find the employee, so what is the API we have created? This is one API, find employee. What is the input? Employee object we need to pass. What is the input? Employee object we need to pass. Just to go to browser and go to postman, and then instead of create employee, what I need to pass? Find employee. What is the HTTP request method? It will allow post mapping. So that's the reason I'm passing post mapping. So do we need to send all the values? Not needed. Even if you send also, no problem. If you send also, no problem. If you don't send also, no problem. Only thing is that you must pass ID. So you must pass the ID and remaining values. If you pass also, it will work. If you don't pass also, it will work. This is optional. So to find the employee, what is mandatory? ID, employee ID is mandatory. So I'm searching, sending the request. See, you can see we got the response from the server. Employee ID 4 is came. Now without this data also I will send. So some people may have doubt. So do I need to send all the data? Not needed. You just need to pass employee ID. Even if you pass employee ID, let me try to So employee ID 2 also returned successfully. So our find employee API is working properly. So let me try another way. So what is another way? By passing path parameter. So for that, I'm going to commenting out. So let me open. Why I am commenting? So same API name should not have. Yes, you can have this time. Both the cases can have. Why? Because it has path variable and it doesn't have path variable. So you will not have any. You will not get any problem. So let me now server is started, right? Restarted. So now what I can do? Again, I have to open and go launch the H2 console, admin, connect it. You have to practice number of times, guys. Otherwise, no use. Okay. I am not going to share you video from today onwards. After end of the course only, I will share you videos and I will share you the source code. You have to practice by yourself. Okay. So select star from employee. As of now, there is no records in database. So go to your browser. Now I'm sending the request. So if you want to send the request, you need to pass the data, right? I just do the control Z. So then my request available now. Just now I need to, which API I need to call to insert the data? Create employee. Just copy the create employee, then pass create employee API, and then post request, user ID 1, send request. Next, user ID 2. Let me change the data also. Okay. User ID 2. So, okay. For the time being, I will send only two records. Okay. Russell. Okay, two records. So now you can fetch the data now, right? So how many find all employees? Local host find all employees. Which API you need to call? Find all employees. So I have inserted only two records. One is Shaker, another one is Rasul Sheikh. So now I want to search the employee. So how we can search? With the help of path variable. Another API we have, right? Find employee. By using find employee, which is having path parameter, path variables, right? So how we can pass? Go to your API, just change the API to control V, and then pass path parameter. Now what is what is that request? This request should be get mapping. So we should not send post request, right? So let me change the request it as a get request, and then now this is useless. This is useless. This will not work anything. This will just show purpose only. So let me delete to avoid confusion. Okay. So now slash path variable, how we can pass slash to, let me send the request. You can see you got the response by using find employee slash to API as well. So let me send one, send the request. So I got the one as well, right? So this is how you can, based on your requirement, you can pass, you can write your code based on your requirement. You can write your APIs, whether using path variable, whether using find, whether using model object. So anything you can do based on your requirement. You have to write your APIs. I think everyone is understood properly, right? You got the point. So only thing is that you have to practice every day. Only you should know how to send the data, how to get the data. Nothing here. Okay. If you know how to send the data from REST client or Postman, you can write any project. You can write number of APIs, any new APIs. If you give to you also, you can write, if you know how to send the data and how to get the data. So how to send the data and how to get the data, if you know this simple logic, you can write any number of APIs based on your requirement. Only thing is that you should know how to send the request and how to get the response, how to send the data as part of request and how to get the response as part of the response object. So if you know this, you can write any new APIs, any requirement. If any people gives you any requirement, you can write easily. Okay, guys. So now we can implement another API. What is that API? Update employee. We haven't created update employee API. So let me create update employee API also. For that, first let me write database logic for that. So how we can write? So now I am going to update the employee. So how we can update the employee? You need to write the database logic in repository layer. So update employee will return again. Let me give as of now. Okay, employee only. Employee. Okay. Now find. No, sorry. Update employee. Update employee. So what update employee will have the argument employee object. So you will have to update the data, right? Update the data in the sense you have to send the request data from the request postman, and that data is going to update in your database. So for that we need a employee class object, model object. So employee. So next what it will return, how we can update. So return or let me write in this way, JdbC template dot. So what is to update the record? Initially, I already shown you update method. There is a update method. What update method will do? If you don't know what query object will do, what update method will do, what query method will do, what query for object will do, how do you know? You just need to put the cursor or control space update method. You can see. So what update method will do? Such as a insert, update or delete. Okay, update method is used to insert the data, update the data, and delete the data. So now I am using update method. Which method we can call? So already we are using this method, right? Same method we can use. Same method you can use. Same argument we need to pass. So let me call update method. What is the first argument? Query. So I already written update employee. You can see query has written update employee. So update employee. What is the query for update employee? Update employee set first name equal, last name equal, mobile number is equal, and email is equal, age is equal, where id. So you have to learn basic queries, guys. At least you have to learn basic queries to perform all the code operations. So if you want to perform all the code operation in the sense create, update, and delete. Okay, code operation in the sense create, update, and delete. So if you want to perform code operations, you should learn basic queries to write the to insert the data and to fetch the data. Okay, so this is the query to update the data in database. This is the normal query. Okay, so update query. So update employee set your column values and then question mark, and then where the primary key you need to pass. So update query comma. So here you have to pass first argument. What is the update query? So comma. Now what you need to pass? You have to pass the input, right? Input. What is the first input? What is the first input? Set first name. So you have to pass set first name. So why? Because the order which you are passing as part of the query, in the same order you have to pass the arguments. In same order you have to pass the arguments. So what is the first argument I need to pass to update? It is a first name. So first name, right? So let me send the first name, employee dot get first name. So what is the second argument? Employee dot get last name. What is the third one? Employee dot get mobile number. What is the next one? Employee dot get email. What is the another one? Employee dot get get age. So what is the last one? Next you can see till here I have passed it. Update employee first name, last name, mobile number, and email id. What and age. So what is the primary key? ID. So what is the last argument? ID. So you need to pass as a last one as a ID. So employee dot get ID. That's it. Control A, Control Shift F. That's it, guys. Okay, so now why this is giving error? We have to put the comma, right? Let me put the comma, and then we have to return employee object. So you just need to return employee. So what update method is, and let me check. So update method I cannot convert from int to void. Okay, so update method is returning. What is the return type? Int in the sense it will return 0 or 1, 0 or 1. So 1, if it is returning 1 in the sense your record is updated successfully. So what is the return type? Int. Okay, let me write integer. That's it. So similarly, now our database logic is ready now. In repository layer, database logic is ready. So we need to call this method from where? We need to call this method from service class, right? So go to service class. So update employee. So here you need to pass, right? So update employee should have input, right? Model object. So let me go to employee uh, interface. So here you need to pass employee. Initially I intentionally I did not pass the input. So if you pass the input blindly, people will learn the code. So now what is you are doing reverse engineering, like going step by step, what parameter needed, so what input needed to insert or update. So now you will get to know everything. So that is the reason I have written initially like this. So now if you want to update the employee, what you need to pass? You need to pass employee details, right? So you need an employee object to insert the data as part of update employee method. So now same method you have to override it in service IMPL. So there is a service IMPL also. You have to pass employee object. You have to understand the code, then you have to write the code. Okay. So now what we need to call here? Return employee. So what it will return, guys? Employee object. So employee method, what is returning in repository layer? It is returning integer. So update method is returning integer to confirm whether it is updated or not, right? So if you can see how do you know whether update method is returning int or not? You just need to put cursor here. You can see the return type of method. This is the method, update method. What is the argument? You need to pass SQL query, and you need to pass number of arguments which you are going to update. And what is the method return type? Return type is int. You no need to remember, guys. You no need to remember what are all the arguments I need to pass, what are all the arguments I need to return. So whenever you are writing the code, you just need to know update method. So if you know update method, if you put cursor, it will clearly tell you what is the input you need to pass, and what is the return type of update method. You will get to know. So what is returning? Int method. So that's the reason I am returning integer. So similarly in IMPL also, so go to your service layer. So what it will return? Update employee integer, or you can void also, you can do here anything, integer or void based on your requirement. Currently I'm returning integer. So if you don't want to return, you just need to put void, okay, based on your requirement. So as of now I'm returning integer. So now go there, and this method also will return integer. So now, sorry, spell mistake, guys, so let me correct it. Integer. So that's it. So now employee service, employee JDBC repository dot, what is the method to update the employee? Update employee method. What you need to pass? Employee object. Now my service logic also ready now. Now what is the next step? We have to write the controller logic. So now I am going to write the API for update employee API. So what it will return? It will return integer. So now what is the method name? Update employee. Based on your requirement, you have to give your method name as, if you proper method name, business name you have to give. I am going to update the employee. That's the reason I am giving my method name as update employee. Okay, guys. So now how we are going to pass the details at the rate request body. So what is the model object? Employee. Just control space. That's it. If you type on control space, it will give you a hint to create the object, create the variable. So now here, what I need to do? Just return employee service dot get, sorry, update employee, right? Sorry, employee service dot update employee. That's it. So now you can cross verify now. So I will go to employee implementation. I just went to implementation. Okay, JDBC repository dot update employee. Again, I go to repository layer, open implementation. So here I have written business logic to update the query. I'm passing update query and then I'm passing rest other inputs. So now what you need to give, you have to specify the API. So what is this API? Update employee. So you are passing the data from as part of request body. So then what is the HTTP request method? It should be post, sorry, put method. Better give always post method also you can use, guys. You can use post method also, but according to standards, to update the details in database, you should use put mapping. Okay, put mapping is used to update the employee. You can use post mapping also, but as per the standards, you need to follow respective HTTP method you need to use. So put method is used for to update the employee. So put mapping and then so HTTP request method should be put mapping and API name I am giving as a update employee. That's it. So now I will go to browser. Sorry, I will go to REST client. So before that, I just want to fetch. So how many employees will be there now? Nothing, because server is restarted. So I have modified the code, right? Server is restarted. How it is restarting? We have added a dependency, right? Spring DevTools dependency. Because of that, we no need to restart the server every time. So your changes will automatically reflect into Tomcat server by default. Okay, so now go to, let me create the employee first. So go to browser and open H2 console. How many? So again, you need to log in admin and connect it. So select that employee table. No, nothing. No rows are present. Since it is server is restarted, let me create employee. What is the create employee? HTTP request method post. So I am going to send the request. So why exception is coming? Create employee post request. Let me, sorry, I haven't passed the input. Why it got? You can see the error. Bad request. I have written create. I am executing create employee. I just send the request from the postman. I got the response bad request. What does it mean bad request? So if you want, you can come down also. You can see request body is missing. It is clearly saying required request body is missing. So I am not passing the data here. So just control Z, if I do control Z, so my JSON object will be back. So now what you will do, just pass, sorry, control Z, what you need to pass employee ID. I will insert employee ID 1, send the request, employee ID, employee is created. So now I'm inserting second employee inserted. I'm going to insert third employee also inserted, right? So now let me go and open the browser. You can fetch how many employees we have inserted. One, two, three employees, but I haven't changed the content. Okay, so ID 1, 2, 3 is inserted. So what we are going to do now, we are going to update any record. So which record we can update? Any record you can update. Let me try to update record number 2. Let me try to update record number 2. So how you can send update request? So let me, so we need to call the API, right? Update employee API. You just need to copy update employee API, then go to your REST client. Just type here update employee, and then what you need to pass? You need to pass the data. So before updating the employee, so what is the details of employee number 2 is Rasul. So employee number 2 is Rasul. Now I am going to change employee number 2 as uh, what I can do. Let me write Sachin Tendulkar. Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, first name, last name. Okay, I will give as a Tendulkar, and last name I will give as a Sachin. Okay, Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, anything, any name you can give. Okay, Sachin, and then mobile number you give some unique number, any number you can give 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and email ID should be Sachin, and Sachin at gmail.com. Example email. Okay, done. So how much is age? His age might be approximately 48. Okay. So now update employee. So which employee I'm going to update? Let me update second employee. So before he's sending request, so this is existing employee. If you send the request, you will get the available records. So what is the employee number two is having Rasul and yes. So employee two is having Rasul yes and mobile number and Rasul email Rasul at j.com, age is 37. So now I'm sending instead of that Tendulkar, Sachin Tendulkar and then mobile number and Sachin email and age. So what is the HTTP request method? It should be post. Why? Because I am using in post put mapping. Put mapping. So that's the reason I am giving HTTP request method. Put method is used to update the resource in database. Update the technically you can call to update the resource in the database. We need put method, or to update your employee details in database. We need put HTTP request method. So let me send the request. See, I got the success response. One in the sense your details are updated successfully. The moment it is returning one, your employee number two details are updated successfully. What is the employee number two? Sachin Tendulkar. So before, what is the details? Rasul and yes. So let me fetch in another browser to show you the difference. So fetch. See now what is the employee details updated successfully with Sachin Tendulkar. Earlier, what is the data is having Rasul yes and Rasul at a.com and 47. So after updating the data, employee two details are Sachin Tendulkar. So this is how you need to write update employee API. Okay guys, so I will create. Okay, so I think it is 5:04. We'll connect tomorrow. I have some work guys. Okay, so we'll create delete API tomorrow. If possible, try yourself. Okay, so there is a delete. So update method, you can see update method will have in repository layer. You can delete the record with the help of update method. You can see update method. Using update method you can insert, update and delete also. Can you people able to write the delete API guys? Okay, I am giving you an exercise. So you have to create a delete API to perform delete employee from the database. Okay, okay guys, we'll connect you tomorrow.